Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time of day it is. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Dr. Don. From the Tualatin Valley Community Television Studios in beautiful green Beaverton, Oregon, we bring you the Conversations with Dr. Don show. For you first-time viewers, Conversations with Dr. Don is an ongoing series of one-hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one-of-a-kind individuals and about whatever it is that we have decided to talk about. Well, now and then we have a rather unique Conversations with Dr. Don show where we have musical talent. And when I say musical talent tonight, I mean musical talent for sure, with my friend Dave Lee, who's been on a number of times in the past. And enough time has gone by till he probably has been up to some other mischief that you should hear about and hear his latest creations, music stuff. So Dave, thank you for coming on again.
Don, it's a pleasure to be here as always. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing since the last time you were on?
Well, I think it was spring of '07 that I was on with doing music. I was on with one of our mutual friends, Sharon Streeter, recently.
Sharon Streeter.
But
yeah.
I didn't play any music. I was just a talking head on that show.
Well, Sharon Streeter, that's all you need to be, is a talking
That's all
head.
you need to be, exactly.
Hi, Sharon.
But anyway, since I've been on the show last time doing music, it's probably been the most amazing 2 years of my life for many reasons. Approximately 3 months after I taped that show 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure.
Ooh.
And I subsequently had open heart surgery. I had a valve that was working about half the time, and I was so tired most of the time that just taking a shower would wear me out. So they fixed me. They fixed my valve, but that was just the beginning of a number of occurrences that were amazing. 2 days after my surgery, my father passed away at the age of 86.
Oh my gosh. 6
weeks after my surgery, I had a house fire which destroyed about a third of my home, and that third was my recording studio. After that, my wife and I had some personal issues. Then I was a victim of check fraud. Then I was in a car accident which totaled my vehicle, and the doctor said you either fell asleep or you passed out due to your heart condition, and so they recommended putting a defibrillator in me, which is what I have right here. It's also known as the Dick Cheney surveillance device.
Watch your political comments here.
I had to get that in.
My gosh, man.
Yeah.
Here you sit here talking to us and looking as fit as a fiddle.
Well,
so has your recovery gone along smoothly?
Physically, I'm pretty good. Yeah, generally speaking, I'm doing pretty good. I have my next major checkup in the summertime, and if that all goes well, then I'm probably off the majority of my meds. So mentally, I'm still as deranged as I was before, if not more so, but physically, I'm better.
What about the depression during this period, the one thing after another? I can't imagine what it must have been like, how you were feeling during this period. This happened, and now this, and now this.
Yeah, it's almost, I referred to it as the never-ending winter, and it was about 2 years of winter. It just seemed to, one thing rolled into the next, and you really never recovered from the previous one, and another thing was on your plate. So it was challenging. It remains to be challenging.
Yes.
I'm not out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
Still pretty deep in the forest, but I think it's also been an opportunity for personal growth.
Okay.
And I think I think I've made a little bit of progress in that area. But it's a daily thing to keep the attitude up, and to being in the music world is challenging enough, and then you put all the other stuff with it, and it's really challenging.
Has your music helped you along the way?
Unquestionably, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always felt that music's one of my best friends, and it always is. It never fails me. It's always there, and my ability to express what's going on in here through the music is I'm incredibly blessed to have that.
And incidentally, what I'm thinking about it, our opening and closing music is Dave's piece that he gave me permission to use some years ago, and I've been using it ever since, and I'm going to use it until 2036.
And you have my personal approval on that. I mean, I'm honored to have my music show up anywhere in a forum such as this. So I was just commenting before we went on that all the guys that played on that, I haven't seen them all in a few years, so I need they probably wouldn't, they need to be updated. So,
So what you're up to lately, huh?
so that's generally what I'm doing. I'm continuing to play gigs, my piano solo work, various places around town and over on the coast, and then I'm continuing to do recording. Got a couple of bands in the studio right now that we're producing, and so it's you know, onward and upward.
So now let's go a few words about your biohistory stuff and where were you born and like that.
I'm 52. I was born in a little community called Bonners Ferry, Idaho.
Idaho.
Just about 30 miles from the Canadian border. If you know where Sandpoint, Idaho is, it's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
30 miles north of Sandpoint, and then another 30 miles and you're in Canada. And that was the nearest hospital to where my parents lived. So I really don't have any experience with that part of the country. It just happened to be where I was, and then within a few years I was you know, in a different location. And
How'd you happen to choose music as a career, avocation, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, my mom played, so we had keyboards in the house. My brother was also playing a little bit of music as well. But my mom, you know, I watched her and thought that'd be cool to do. And we had the instrument. I took lessons, and excuse me. And it's just, I've only done two things in my life. I've either played music or I've been a radio announcer. So I don't know how to do anything else. Hammering a nail is a challenge. So, but that's, you know, where things started. And I had just a boatload of private lessons and ended up studying on pipe organ.
Pipe organ.
It's a kind of a lost art. Not too many people doing it these days, but both hands, both feet.
Ooh.
Yeah, you have 2 octaves of bass pedals, plus volume pedals, plus sounds to change. So it's separating the brain rather intensely, but man, it's that experience alone is just, and it was an amazing thing. Pipe organs are way cool. They just are. I mean, and nobody plays them anymore. So.
Did you ever get a chance to play any?
It's been years ago. I played. I just did a brief little, you know, half hour of playing time on a incredible instrument out in Forest Grove at a church out there. That's a combination of real pipes and digital. So it's a hybrid, and it's just. You feel like you're king of the world when you put that thing to the floor, man, and put all the stops out and put the volume all the way down. It's you know, it's incredible. And when I was a little kid, there was this theater in Coos Bay that had a huge pipe organ down in the pit, and it was actually 2 organs that they'd ripped all the guts out and put them into one. And so, and I knew the guy that cleaned the theater, so I snuck in when they were cleaning the theater and. You know, again, just put that thing to the floor. I mean, you could hear it outside on Highway 101. It was very loud and very fun.
So, considering the last 2 years and what you've gone through, is any new appreciation or realization about what's important nowadays, or anything comes to mind that would not have happened had you not gone through the last 2 years?
Well, it reinforces things that that are my immediate family. My daughter is so much more important, even though she was hugely important before. It's just family is huge, and I have certain family members that are as good as it gets. They'll listen, and if they need a friend, I can be a friend to them, and that's and then just having a passion for what you do.
Yeah, we're talking about your daughter. I know you don't like your daughter at all.
Well, there are moments.
Yeah, there are moments.
But we won't get into that.
Number 2, you want to say something to her? That countdown clock isn't working, Mr. Director, in there. Set my clock.
It says we have 92 minutes to go.
Yeah. You want to say something to your daughter?
And I'm going to need all 92 minutes.
Don't stop it.
Oh. No, Emily, I love you, and it's an honor to bring you into the world and to have a little part in that, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so what personal impressions or thoughts that you'd like to share? Anything more personal? I know we could talk about, you love to talk about politics because you're such an arch conservative, and Dick Cheney is your hero, right?
Actually, yeah, round of applause. We have our token conservative out here, don't we? No, I'm I'm not very politically involved, but I'm very opinionated, and I tend to keep most of that to myself. But in the last year or so, I just have not been able to keep that under wraps, and so I've was involved in a play that was a bunch of us got together and did a read of a play that was written by a veteran. It was called The Trial of George W. Bush, 2005, and so I played the part of Dick Cheney. And that was, and that's not something I would normally do. I kind of keep politics and religion out of most of my stuff, but on one of my new albums, I finally have just reached the point where I'm not going to keep that back here anymore, and we're going to put out front. So I have a couple of politically influenced tunes on one of my new albums, and I have got plans for more.
You're going to play one of those tonight?
Actually, I'm not. I think one of the last times I was on, I did, which was, we were working on it at that time 2 years ago, but that was the WMD Blues.
Oh, that's...
and
wow.
Which features W on lead vocals. And then there's another tune on the album that's called Don't Shoot Me Dick, which is dedicated to our former vice president.
Yeah, at the risk of getting too political, what's going on now with the new president and the new administration? There's been a lot of talk, pro and con, about the likelihood of Obama being successful in what he's trying to do for our country, and I think perhaps the world too. What's your impression about what Obama is up to as our new president so far?
Well, I think he's done more in the first 60 days than we've done in the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. Clearly. So that's encouraging. It's encouraging that he can put a sentence together without mangling it. So, it's almost shocking to have a president speaking complete sentences, but I'm getting used to that. It's great. But seriously, I think we have we got dumped on.
Rick is shaking his head.
I know, that's all right. That's all right. But we got, Obama's dealing with dump truck loads full of crap from the last 8 years, and it's going to take an incredible effort in each of the areas to get us out of that, and it will also take time and patience. And because we're a society that tends to want everything right now, people are, I think, inclined to, say, he's just like the rest of them, and I just think, I'd be inclined to give this a little bit of time to see where we're going to go. I think many of the things that we need in this country are being proposed and hopefully voted on and passed. A big thing for me is health care, especially given the situation that I was in.
Yes.
Because when I was first into the hospital, I did not have medical insurance. And 2.5 days in the hospital cost me $20,000.
Oh my gosh.
I consider that criminal.
Yes.
That's inhumane. And the fact that we can't seem to get that together, but we can spend billions of dollars needlessly killing people, and we can't keep our own country healthy is absurd. And the Bush crime family should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, Rick.
Because, it goes back to Prescott Bush back in the 40s and his dealings with the Nazis. So it truly is the Bush crime family.
So do you think Obama is going to be successful in what I think is saving capitalism? Do you think he's going to be successful in turning things around such that we can stop this downhill slide toward making all of us paupers?
Well, I certainly am optimistic, but I'm also aware that there are many people who would love to see Obama fail, and not just the talk show person that said that. There are lots of people who would love to see this administration go down in flames as soon as possible.
I'm kind of jaundiced, and I see myself as a realist, but some say I'm a pessimist because of my 80 years on this earth and what I see going down over the years. And I was wary of Obama's choice of his cabinet and all the people who are going to work for him in his presidency. And I find myself hoping, even though there's a few things where I think he's not going in the right direction, but overall I'm having hope. And about every 3 or 4 days there's some new press conference he's got and the stuff he's saying, and dare I hope that things are going to be different, and before I pass away, see things heading in the right direction such that my children and grandchildren would have a better life.
Well, I think because of the election, we now have a chance. Okay. Had we had a different result, remains to be seen as to how long this country would survive as we know it.
Well, I think we probably talked enough politics
I
here.
think you're right.
Turned off some of our viewers. So it's time for a break now for about 3 minutes. In a moment, we're going to put up on the screen a few panels that show information that you may want to make note of during the break. You may want to get pencil and paper. So let me tell you about the Dr. Don Show broadcast schedule. For you viewers who live in the Washington County part of the Portland, Oregon metro area, Conversations with Dr. Don shows are broadcast 5 times each week. Typically, a new show is first aired on a Tuesday and is rebroadcast on the following Friday through Monday. You can get Conversations with Dr. Don on the internet. You can tell your friends to watch Dr. Don shows on the internet anytime by going to video.google.com and entering Conversations with Dr. Don. We have an occasional live call-in show. Periodically, a show is recorded live so that you viewers in the Portland, Oregon metro area can call in and give us your say on whatever it is that we're talking about during the show. The next live call-in show will be on Thursday, April something, at 8 p.m. in Portland, Oregon, on Comcast Channel 11 and Verizon Channel 22. Anyhow, I want to give you a few key Washington, D.C. phone numbers. If at any time during the rest of the show the thought crosses your mind that you'd like to contact the people in Washington, D.C. who supposedly work for us, the citizens, you can take down the phone numbers that will also be up on the screen during the break. call Washington and tell them what you want and don't want them to do. Most of them really do want to hear from you. We're now going to put up on the screen the appropriate panels. In the meantime, Dave Lee is going to mosey over to his instrument and be ready to give us some real music when we come back from break. Put those panels up now, please. Okay, we're back, and thanks for staying tuned. For you viewers who missed the opening of the show, Conversations with Dr. Don is an ongoing series of one-hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one-of-a-kind individuals and about whatever it is that we've decided to talk about. Well, tonight we decided to not talk so much, and we're going to have Dave Lee, a master musician, play for us. And I love what he plays anytime, anywhere. So Dave, will you take it away and tell us a little about what you're going to play for us now?
Absolutely. I think as we opened the show, there was a couple of CD covers that we had on the screen, and those are my two new CDs. One's called Paris Angel, and the other is called Through the Maze. It's all original music except for one tune, and we're going to do some selections off both CDs, and then I've got a couple of older tunes in the box over here that if we have time we'll do those. I did 5 CDs from 1995 to 2001, so if we have some time we'll maybe get to a couple of the oldies but goodies as well. The first tune is a song I actually wrote a long time ago. I believe I was around 19. And the song started in history class when I wasn't listening. And gee, you guys have never done that, have you? But anyway, this is a song I wrote and it's called The Eyes Have It, and here we go.
Yes.
I wonder if anybody in the room actually recognized the tune. Did anybody get that? Probably not. That was America the Beautiful.
Really,
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
It's kind of a dark version on purpose. And on the album, it's like let's see, Don't Shoot Me Dick, WMD Blues, and then this kind of dark version of America the Beautiful. So the album starts out really nice and beautiful and romantic, and then we just drive it right into the ground by the very end. Shall we do another one?
Yes, yes. What do you
All
what else do you
right,
have for us?
This is a tune, those first two were off the album Paris Angel. And then the next one is off the album Through the Maze. And Through the Maze is a little different in that there's far less structure and melodical direction. Some of the tunes have no melody and no structure on purpose. And I've been such a huge proponent of melody that some people will probably think that I have, come short of the glory of melody and have descended into the burning flames. But that's not the case. I just dabble in it, that's all. So this is a song off the new one, Through the Maze, and this is dedicated to Jim Morrison of The Doors, and it's called Morrison. We're going to start this over because I realize I just made a little mistake.
Looks
Thank
like
you.
that one kind of got to you.
That one's, I love playing that tune. I'm going to come back over. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay. Just take a break from that little excursion.
Yeah.
See if I can get myself around here.
So why do you like to play that tune especially?
Well, that the song is called "I Can Still See Your Face," and it comes from the same album as your theme comes from, which came out in 1997. It's called "When Your Eyes Met Mine," and even though the song has kind of a lot of fun energy, the saxophone especially is really quite nice on that tune, I think. A young man named Ben Fowler played that. But I actually wrote the song as a remembrance of my son, who passed away at birth about 15 years ago. And my father also lost his first child at the age of 7 months. And so I wrote this song as a dedication to both them, to my son Jesse and to my sister that I never knew, Jeanette. So I really get into it. It's a celebration of life, even though they're not with us. We celebrate their lives.
I could feel it and I could see it in your face as you were playing it, yeah.
Well, that's another one of those experiences that was incredibly heart-wrenching to go through, but again, it's an opportunity to work on your own development, your own growth. But I've also had opportunities to share the story of my son at a few of my concerts, and I'll play that song, or maybe I'll play another one that's about the same subject, because I've written a number of songs about that situation. But I talked about it, and I've had people come up to me afterwards and say, thank you for speaking about it, because it's something that I couldn't speak about.
Yeah.
And one of the guys on those first two albums, my co-producer, my friend John Monenbach, also had they had experienced several incidents like that. I know of one mother who lost 4 children in that manner. So it's something that happens, but it's not something we talk about very much. So I've used that as an opportunity for my own growth to speak about it a little bit, and to perhaps bring some comfort to others that have gone through the similar circumstances.
So I wonder what the viewers out there who have experienced some of the kinds of things that you've experienced, and here you are playing your music, obviously enjoying it, and moving on with your life. Just hearing you repeat your situation and your events in your life and seeing where you are now is one thing, but do you have any other thoughts or words that would be encouraging to them as they're perhaps in the middle now of some struggle or recovering or grieving?
Well, the first thing to do is to speak about it, and whether that's with a counselor or with your friends, you need to find an opportunity to speak about your situation and how you feel about it, so that you can too have an opportunity for growth. One of the things that's helped me is my own music. I have an outlet for that emotion that I feel about those situations, and I channel it through the music. And it's that passion for the arts that really continues to provide nutrients in my life, and it brings me into situations that are marvelous opportunities for music and art and camaraderie, and to communicate those feelings and get them out there, and maybe somebody else has experienced the same thing. But it's having that passion. If you can have a passion for something, whether it's artistic or not, I think that will go a long ways towards perhaps helping you on your road.
All right. Now, do you have a piece that's 2 or 3 minutes long that we can finish with?
I'll do one.
All right.
I get asked all the time to play my favorite song.
Play your favorite
So
song.
why not? This is a tune that was, actually it was cut from the movie, and it was added in at the last moment. And I think they are glad they made that decision. It's the movie The Wizard of Oz and the classic Over the Rainbow,
All right.
written by Harold Arlen. And a lot of times people don't hear the introduction to the song, so I'm going to play that in one verse of it, and hopefully that's 2 minutes.
Yes, yes.
See how good I really am here.
All right.
All right, I'm going to
Drag your chords over there.
I'm going to drag my chords over here. Let me see if I can come up with this here.
Perfect timing.
If I only had a brain.
So it looks like it's close to time for us to stop. Again, keep those pens and pencils handy because you may want to jot down something that we'll show you in the closing credits. Thanks for watching. I invite you to give us feedback, both positive and negative, about any aspect of the show. I mean it. It helps us to give you a better show in the future. And my email address is friendlydon@aol.com. And a few public service announcements I'd like to make, always for the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. Without the ACLU, I'm not sure where our civil liberties would be in this country now with the past 8 years of the previous administration. The ACLU has the national office and their website and their phone number, and the ACLU hotline. If you think that law enforcement has stopped you or some friend of yours because of how they look rather than for some legitimate reason, the ACLU wants to know about it. There's a number to call to let them know that you've been stopped unreasonably. So it's time to say goodnight. Before we say goodnight, I also want to thank my wonderful crew and the managers and teachers at Tualatin Valley Community Television Studios in Beaverton. I also want to thank you viewers in other parts of the country where you're watching. Thank you for watching. And if you live in another part of the country and are watching this show, contact your local community access cable TV studio for information about when they plan to broadcast Dr. John shows in the future. And remember, KFC, no, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, not the Colonel's KFC, Dr. Don's KFC. Kind, friendly, and charitable. Be kind, and be friendly, and be charitable to you too. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Thank you for watching, and good night.